Let's go.
Real quick, as far as events go, coming up soon is July 11th, 7/11/26. We got Orlando, Layton. It's going to be a steamroller. Come check it out. We have Gainesville coming up July 13th, 2026. We have Sarasota, Dreaming City Games, 7/18/26. And we have Ocala, 7/19/26 at Bearded Brown Coats. So come down, come have some fun games in Florida. We'll see you there. Let's talk. It's been a while. It's been a while. Pretty busy. Um, so today, I'm gonna go over a couple of things. I'm gonna go over one of my weekly games against Sheldon, and then I'm also gonna go over my most recent steamroller that I went to up in Ocala over at Bearded Brown Coat. So we'll go over those results, and we'll just chillax and catch up. So this week's game, playing Storm Legion as always. I decided to play Huxley, and Sheldon is actually testing out. He wants to go back to Scorn, which is pretty exciting. He's been playing Dust for a while, but Scorn is his love child. He's been playing it since he's been playing War Machine. So today he decided to play some Xerxis with two Hydras. Yep, two Hydras. So even just deploying on WARTABLE, like after I saw his list, I was like, how the hell am I gonna eat through two Hydras? And then he's got the cats also, the double cats. I think it's the Titan Glad, or is that, yeah, Titan Glad. Um, yeah, the Praetorians, the Shield Wall dudes. Just a little filler, a good unit to put on a point, and then two pain givers. The solo, which I can't remember exactly what he does. I'm not sure if that's the one that gives guidance. I can't remember. And then Xerxes, who's just a monster in itself. Xerxes has some really good spells. Like after playing against Sheldon and getting to see Scorn, I'm usually used to playing like against Makeda or Jalam because those are like his the two casters he likes to play the most. Zadesh is really cool too. Like if I played Scorn, I'd probably play Zadesh. I think he's really cool. But Xerxes though, Field Marshal +2 sprint or +2 speed, and Xerxes has sprint. But Xerxes has an amazing lineup of initials. Mat 8 is not going to miss because he's Cav. And then, the feat, all models are considered to be in his control range. And then his friendly faction models gain additional die on attack and damage rolls. For each roll, of those rolls, he gets to discard a dice of his choice. So, pretty nice. And then 3 really good spells: Ignite, Rapport, and then Stranglehold, of course. Stranglehold, amazing spell. Kind of sucks that he's only. Am I reading this right? He's only Arc 5? That can't be right. Is that right? I thought he was 6. Maybe my app's outdated or something. It was very weird. And then AAT 6. So obviously, you really want to get the Shang. Obviously, the Shangles are going to go into a core model. Like you wanted to go into a Jack or something. So, but really awesome. Rapport, also really good. Just get Mat 8 to, your whole battle group. Really nice. And then Ignite, just a really good spell. Just some more damage. So yeah, very scary. Very scary indeed. So he deploys his stuff pretty symmetrically. Pretty symmetrically. Of course, I lose a die roll. So he got to choose. He picked side. I ended up going first. I'm pretty sure he ended up wanting to pick side because he's playing 3 huge bases. So he wants the side where there's not a lot of things stopping him from moving. So I don't blame him. And then going second is just great. So being able to get the response on scenario, going second. Me going first, I just start running things. I put a unit of Stormblades obviously close to the point. I'm just running max distances, so I'm obviously just running the Stormblades as far as they can go, running the Zephyr as far as he can go, just to put my threat ranges out there. The Jacks, I'm playing Huxley, so I'm going to trample all the Jacks turn 1. So trample repo, get that extra inch, so they're all going to move for as max as they can go, 12 inches. Um, I throw one unit of storm blades into the trench. Not like it's gonna matter. The hydras have sprays, but I figure I'm gonna run somewhere. Let me run somewhere that's, I don't know. I can get some kind of value of not being out in the open. The other blades are behind the forest, so that kind of helps. Blocking line of sight. Run the courser up. So this list, this is actually a list that I was trying to experiment with. I wanted to see if the changes to coursers, the changes to coursers would be running worth running in Huxley, because the list that I've been playing, the list that I took to Ocala, actually ends up playing four strikers and Magnus Invictus, which I like better. After playing the list, I was like, the courses just aren't worth it. I mean, yeah, they're kind of cheap throwaways, which is nice. The high defense is kind of cool, but I mean, against Sheldon Xerxis list, doesn't matter. He's going to hit me for sure. And then the courses are paper, so they're going to get deleted. They'll probably get deleted in two initials most of the time. But I figure, why not? Let's give it a shot. Um, and then the four strikers, one of them is a shield spear, so he's a little bit more tanky as Plasma Nimbus also, just to be kind of an annoying jack to put on a point. So if you hit him, you get hit back with a PAL 10 electric roll. If the Zephyr's nearby, you get hit by a PAL 12. Something to put fail safe on and just kind of go into scenario with. Arm 22 is not bad on a jack. So yeah, Sheldon just goes. He puts his cats behind the forest, so I can't really shoot him. It's not like it really matters anyway, because this list, the Xerxes list that he's playing, is pretty good into shooting. Like all of his, like the cats, yeah, they're kind of low armor. They're probably the lowest armor to be all between them. I mean, obviously the support units of pain givers or whatever, pretty low armor, and the solo, but everything else is pretty high armor. And then the Hydras have a 5-inch windstorm. It's sandstorm, but it's windstorm, but 5 inches, which is really good. So basically my shooting goes nowhere, because in this list I have nothing to like threat extend um, my range attacks. So basically my range game's not going to do anything this game. I'll do a couple cheeky things with electroleaps, but as far as damage goes, even boosting damage with the Stormblazer cannon, it's not going to do much. So yeah, he makes it to where I basically can't shoot anything. He spreads out the windstorm, so he's got, let's see what, I can't remember how big huge bases are wide, but adding two of them, so two hydras, both with 5-inch sandstorms, so 10 inches plus whatever the distances of their bases, is pretty crazy. So yeah, he just puts literally everything in sandstorm except the thing that I obviously can't get to, and then puts his cats behind a forest. So going into my turn, I end up thinking here of how the next turn's going to go. I've actually been playing Huxley. I've been getting more value out of ground form, especially at the Ocala tournament. I really love ground form, especially since there's a lot of there's a couple Kifguard in the metagame now around our locals. There's also a couple Dust players that still play Cyrophil. Um, the armies that really want to knock you down or smite you. Will plays Chimera, so he plays a Drakion. Um, I love going into ground form to avoid getting knocked down. The Zephyr already can't be knocked down, and then the whole battle group can't be knocked down. The Stormblades shield wall, they can't be knocked down. So really, the only thing you can knock down is the mechanics, and then the list that I play Invictus, you can obviously knock him down. But I've been getting a lot more value out of ground form. So here, I started to get a little worried about his hydras and their range attacks. So I not only just the range attacks, but the hydras threaten like 16 inches with melee, like full threat. So the entire game, I was like, well, don't really have much places to stand as long as I use the only forest that I have on the right side to block line of sight. But everything else is pretty much open. So I mean, the Hydra number one is he can go wherever the hell he wants, and the Hydra number two, even if he doesn't charge, he can still walk, and then the heads are 3 inches, so he can get to wherever he wants to go, even though he went second. So I put up a courser on the 50. That's my courser with the spear, which is set defense. So I put my courser there so that I can, if he does charge me, at least it'll be a little bit difficult to hit him. I already know I'm going to lose the courser, but going first, you want to throw something on the point. So in a way, I just use the courser to just throw him out there to contest the point because I know I'm not going to score it, and then to also use as kind of bait. So I try to measure my strikers to be able to get charge range close to where the courser is at next turn. I end up moving one of the strikers up here to get a couple pot shots. I know Sandstorm, I'll be -5 or -3 range, so I do have to walk up a decent amount. So I walk the striker up. He does his thing. I boost to hit into the Praetorian. I'm going into the small single wound unit there. So I go ahead, roll the hit. I hit. I roll the Electroleap shot to get to. Shield Wall is going to make it so he can eat these Electroleaps pretty easily. So I only managed to kill the guy that gets directly hit. It's whatever. Repo back 3 inches to try to use the forest as a way to block line of sight. I move another striker up here, do the same thing, I believe. Oh, I think I just go with the mechanics and then throw some empowers out. Um, yeah, yeah, I can't wait to talk about it. Let's talk. Let's get where are the events? Where's the events at? I want to go over. I want to go over Ocala. These first couple turns are kind of all right. So going over my Ocala steamroller run. Only 3 rounds. It was like 14 players or something like that. Round one, I ended up playing against Sean from Warjax. He was playing Kithgard. He usually plays Chimera, so I was anticipating to play against Chimera, and then we got to the table, I saw Kithgard, I'm like, oh, okay, this would be interesting. This actually ended up being the first time of me playing against Kithgard in a steamroller. I think it just took some time for all the models to come out for people to really like pick them up and start playing with them. So, but now that most of the things are out, I think the only thing they're missing is the gargantuan. Now that they're out, I guess I'll be playing against them a lot more. So, yeah, round one I get to play against them. Um, let's see, summarizing that game. So I know he won the die roll. He made me go second. He went first. The thing I noticed about Kifgard is it takes a while for them to like on turn one, like trying to you have to have some foresight going into the game, like trying to figure out how the rest of the after turn one is gonna go as far as like placing your trap doors, like where things go. They got a lot of like setting up to do, in the beginning of the game. So his turn one was relatively long. I will say that. Um, the scenario was payload. So going second, I remember on my side of the board, I ended up picking the side that had a forest. There was like an obstruction. There was a decent amount of things to block line of sight and then gain some cover. So like I had a couple scatter terrain pieces on the left side of the board that I can use for cover, which was closer to my flag. Um, so basically the game, turn one, he took a while, but he basically pressed up the board. On my turn one, I like walked up, I put up windstorm, casted failsafe on my shield guard or my shield striker, and the shield striker, like he was on the side of the board that was like where the obstruction was, and I feel like I kind of just wanted to put him straight in the middle of the board so that he was just like out there, just so that because maneuvering him later on was kind of annoying because I stayed in ground form this game pretty much the entire game after turn one because he had a Virager and I just didn't want to get dragged into shit and I didn't want to deal with any of that stuff. So I ended up staying in ground form like pretty much most of the game. Um, what else? Couple of notable things. I had to muscle through the steelbacks that he sent up around, I think it was like bottom of two or top of three. Steelbacks are pretty hard. Another game that my shooting did like absolutely nothing in because he has decel, he has really high defense. He played 2 guard towers in his list, and me never playing into Kif guard. Didn't realize how annoying the guard towers could be. Um, and I made a really bad trade later in the game. Traded Invictus for a guard tower. It was definitely not worth it. Highly not recommend that at all. Um, so yeah. What else? I remember his feet turn was a little wonky. At least I didn't feel like I felt like the feet Storm. He was playing Stormcraw. I feel like Stormcraw's feat is really good, and I just didn't get to experience like the full fledge of it. I know that the throat cutters and the scrappers, I think, is what he used to come out of the trapdoors like the next turn, and then they basically the throat cutters dealt with my storm blades, completely wiped them out, did a couple chip damage to my one of my strikers that was on also near the 40. But and then the scrappers put in some pretty good work on the left side of the board. I had a unit of storm blades on the flag as well as Invictus. The blades were kind of dancing around behind an obstruction to like avoid getting shot, and then out of range from him ambushing from the side of the board. So they got to at least hold down the flag for a decent amount of time. Um, Payload was going a bit tough because he had a tower contesting his flag and the totem, and I had to maneuver around a big obstruction. So he had the shorter distance. He definitely got the better side of the board, but he had a shorter distance to get to my flag. He never got to it, but still very good choice on that. But yeah, all my shooting was meaningless. The best that I had was I was electroleaping off the towers, but the electroleaps weren't doing like anything. The list I was playing that weekend, and I don't think I played as Zephyr in that list. So yeah, it didn't really do anything. So one memorable part of that game was I had Magnus charge into the scrappers once they reached the flag. I needed to kill two of them to get control of my flag, and Magnus charges in, kills one like through two initials, I think, and or he no, I forced a tough check, and then hit him with the second initial to kill him, and then I bought attacks, did like crap damage into the second one, and then bought double ones twice. So super sad times. I somehow ended up winning the game on just through Def Clock, just because his turn one was pretty long. Um, but I feel like he definitely had the game. I made a lot of poor decisions. His board state, most of his board state was in his favor, or the board state was in his favor. So yeah, between scenario, objective placements, and going first. So good game overall. Then we go to round two. I ended up playing against Craig from Warjacks, which is super exciting because I've only played against Craig once, and it was in MK3. And then after that, he hadn't played the game for a while in the beginning of MK4, and then he's finally came back, and I could tell he's enjoying the game, and he's playing Gold Umbri, which is kind of similar to Circle, which he used to have fun playing with. So it was very fun getting to play against him. So Old Umbri, when I go ahead and I'm plan on making a video to talk about my Siege Invitational run also and how that weekend went. But Old Umbri, this has to be probably like maybe game 10, at least 10. I played at least 10 games against Old Umbri, and every time, or most of the time, it ends up being the same place. They find a really good spot to put Jizana, either whether behind a house, behind an obstruction, max corpse tokens, and then they just hit you with the freaking Starcross and the gnawing pain and all the crazy debuffs that make it so you can't play the game. Which is kind of like basically how most of the game went. He also played the Gorger, which was infuriating also because he was forcing me to re-roll my attacks, and it was a challenge. So I ended up dropping Calder in this game because we ended up playing two fronts. And I know I probably should have dropped Huxley, but I was scared about the scenario game. So I really didn't just want to get shot out on scenarios. So I ended up dropping Calder because it has more models. She has a higher control range. The Storm Guards can put some decent, if they get the charge and stuff, as long as I'm not forced to re-roll like everything into double ones or whatever. At least I get some decent damage into the Gorger or his battle group. He was playing a Feral. I think he was playing a Feral and the Gorger. Um, so yeah, the game pretty much went how I thought it was going to go as far as Jazana and the annoying debuffs, Gnawing Pain, and then the rerolls. I got some use out of countermeasure actually this game. I gave countermeasure to a unit of the Cav, and I sent them on the left side of the board where the 40s are closer to my end. I sent him up, and he had the hounds on that side. He didn't really have a lot of units to put out like during the game, like to send that way. So he sent the hounds, and I think I did the same thing against Winter Core one time, except it was with a Zephyr. If you make it to where they can't shoot you and you have pretty good armor, the hounds are not going to get through you. So that's basically what I did. I sent the Storm Lances, the Storm Lance or the Cav. They have unyielding, so they're pretty hard to hit in melee. And then countermeasure made it so you can't make any range attacks. So it was awesome. And then if I ever wanted to disengage, if I wanted to fight something else, I always have breakthrough on the calves, so I can walk away and do my thing. But it felt kind of bad. I feel like if I would have put countermeasure on the assailers, it would have been way better. That way I could have freed up my cav to go do more work towards the middle of the board. Because the middle of the board, the entire game was like nothing was happening there. Ironically, most like it was weird because most of the fighting was going on the far right side of my board where the 40s are the furthest, which was kind of strange. Not usually how that scenario goes, but I had Kruger on the right side of the board, and I had him along with a sailors and another unit of lances. I was trying to fight over the 40s on that side, and Kruger ends up doing his teleporty thing. Kills. I'm pretty sure he kills like two of the. What is that unit called? The character unit from Bolgon Breach. Oh, drawing a blank. It's not the Chosen. Is the Chosen? Is that their name? They start to all like meld together, like the Dusk ones, like the same thing. Yeah, Chosen. Chosen of the Witch. He ends up killing two of the Chosen. Yeah, so then the middle of the board was tough. He had the Feral, and then that's where he had Jazana behind the house. So in order to deal with the Ferals, I needed to fight over the 50s. So I had my strikers behind the house. One of them was on the 50. My Courser ends up walking around the house to fight his Feral. Under Starcross, I hit his Feral. His Feral was defense 14. I end up boosting a headbutt in order to knock down the Feral to make it easier to hit him. And I actually managed killing him. Yeah, as I boost the headbutt into the Feral, I knock him down. I do a couple of chip damage into him, and then I end up getting the Storm Guard to charge the Feral, which was awesome because I auto hit, and then charging Storm Guard since the beginning of the year. Now with the update, they are big game hunter, so I got 4 dice on the charge, POW 13s. I gave him Fury Strength, so they were POW 15. So after I charged the Feral from the chip damage, I think it only took 1 guard on the charge to finish him off. It was either 1 or 2 guard to finish him off, which was kind of cool. And then I think what sucked about the entire, so I ended up fighting the Feral, commit the Courser, commit the Storm Guards, and he had Jazan on the point. He had Galena, I think, on the point too, but I wasn't concerned about Galena, and I needed to score the point, and I just couldn't get to the Witch, which was very, very annoying. So, yeah, like I said, Jazana is just that model. Um, oh, and then another thing. So towards the end of the game, I started getting some people come and watch, and I'm like, damn it, something's gonna go wrong, and surely it did. The Starved finally walked around to the point where I could like get to him, and I get to charge him with the Storm Guard. I think I did some chip damage into the Starve with the Striker, and then I was like, oh, surely I can finish him off. I know the Striker probably missed like maybe 1 or 2 attacks on full focus or whatever, and I bought. I got a little bit of chip damage, but I was like, surely the Starve with like I think it was like 20 boxes or something left or something. Surely the Storm Guard can finish him off. Charge of the Storm Guard. Obviously, I had to worry about Jizana. I I think with the striker, yeah, the striker ended up boosting. I did the same thing. I tried to boost the headbutt in order to knock him down and make it easier to hit, and it it didn't work. So I missed that, and then I had to buy some attacks and got some chips. And then when the storm guard charged him, and I think only two or three of the five actually landed, and I leave him on one box. One box. I think it was only two that actually hit out of the five. And I left him on one box. I was so sad. I was so sad. So that was one thing that I got to remember about that game. So unfortunate. It is what it is. I end up losing the game on scenario. Or no, I don't. I do not lose on scenario. He actually assassinated Calder. He walked Jazana right around the house, from around the house, and shot me with the really annoying gun. The Carrion Crow, the Black Wings. So he blinded me, made me defense nothing. So he managed to hit me with his AAT6. I was hoping that he didn't, so I could dodge away, and it didn't happen that way. But yeah, he blinds me, and I think Galena, was it Galena that got a couple shots? I think she shot like once, and then somebody finished me off. If it wasn't Galena, it was the Primeval or whatever. But yeah, unfortunate. Kyler gets assassinated. I was actually doing really well on scenario. I was planning to win the game on scenario, but yeah, I ended up moving Calder a little bit too far forward because he had a unit. Was it a unit or model? He had something that was like right in front of his primeval that I wanted to kill so I can get to the starved. And I thought that Calder can go in and deal with it. And she did a couple chip damage or whatever it was, and then repositioned back. I actually even put up Rhythm of War so I could reposition a little bit more to hopefully get to a safe spot, but that didn't work out. He shoots me, and then something walks up and kills me. So unfortunately, I lose that game. And then last round I get to play against the homie Will. The homie Will is playing Chimera. I already know he was going to drop Kyrax. He drops Kyrax. I end up dropping Huxley, and we end up playing. What was the scenario? I think it was pressure point, or it was high stakes. I'll have to confirm. Let me see. Well, I guess nobody indicated it on their round, so I can't remember. I want to say it was pressure point. Yeah, I want to say it was pressure point. Um, yeah, it was pressure point. It was pressure point, or was it high stakes? I don't know. It's gonna bug me. Anyway, so we ended up playing a pretty steady scenario, like the early turns, like top of two, bottom of two. And then bottom of three is when the points started to spike. He started scoring like 4 to my 0 or 3 to my 0, and then it would come over to me, and then I would score 3 to 0. So it was back and forth scenario. So it was a really great game when it came to that. There was one turn that was pretty crazy. I think it was top of four. He scores 5 VP to like my one. So that forced me into like the end game scenario where I had to do something. I had to hopefully pray for the assassination. And I found an angle. We had to measure it a couple times just to make sure that it was kosher. I go into flight form to get the max distance. He murdered a lot of my army. He killed like almost everything. So I found an angle with Huxley, um, and I was able to charge in with Huxley. I think I either charged Kyrax directly or I charged a model next to Kyrax. No, I charged Kyrax directly. That's what it was. Charged Kyrax directly, um, found a landing spot, and then got a couple dice into Kyrax. Didn't really do much. I think he had one or two transfers. So I get a good amount of chip damage into him. I had Storm Rager up, and then in flight form, so my fists were doing POW 17s. The first one was like pretty decent. It's pretty decent dice. And then I end up whiffing a little bit of damage on Huxley, so then I switch over to between the chancers and everything. So then I switch over to a striker that I had. The striker that I had, I think it was my hammerjacks. He had 1 inch reach, so I had to be really careful with my positioning. So I ended up um, going max focus and then walking up the striker and then trying to hit Kyrax. Um, and then that didn't do it. So then I had to do it with Invictus. So I actually had Invictus. I had to go Magnus, Energizer um, forward and then trample over some of his condition bots in order to get into range of Kyrax. And then yeah, and then 3 inch reach. So then I just bought my 3 inch reach melee attacks with the flail, and I was able to finish off Kyrax. So yeah, that was how that last game went. Um, that was another match that I felt I knew I was dropping Huxley like regardless. Same thing. I stayed in ground form like pretty much all the turns after turn one, and then the last turn I had to go into flight form to get the assassination. So yeah, that's and that was that. I ended up placing I think fifth. No, I ended up playing placing sixth. So unfortunate. I was kind of bummed out about my round two because I felt like it was definitely my fault. I shouldn't have put Calder that far forward. And then if I would have won that game, then I probably would have played into either Dusk or Winter Core as my last game. So, but it is what it is. Definitely a learning experience. So, cutting back over to this game right here that we played, I let a couple things slide out here. Earlier in the game, I actually ended up ambushing in Falk was another addition that I was trying with this list just to play some more scenario. He ended up um, coming into the board and then getting 2 sprays, and the 2 sprays missed against his model in the Dust Devil. So there goes that. But I mean, it was worth a shot because if I would have sprayed him, I would have been able to sprint, and I probably would have been able to get to the flag. So it would have made up for it in points. But he ended up missing both attacks, and then he just repoed like further away and just chilled there. So I ended up running one of my blades that was behind the house to contest his flag. So this turn goes on. I go with my striker. I start beating into this Hydra, just buying all these attacks, getting a little bit of chip. Yeah, very, very strange on the left side in this game. Part of me wishes that I went a little bit more aggressive with the Zephyr and then just went like a hard left flank. And then if the Hydra wanted to get to me, you'd have to go that way just so I can deal with the Cav. But I'm almost positive that the charging Cav would have just wiped out the Zephyr anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered. So that's why he ends up going a little bit more into the middle of the board. So scenario not looking very good. Sheldon was ahead of scenario like almost every turn. 1 point, 2 points every turn. Into Sheldon's turn, he basically just tries to wipe out the rest of my blades. He whiffs the one remaining, but I'm not hopeful that he's gonna survive. Oh wait, no, never mind, never mind. He does kill him. He does kill him. I remember now. So, but yeah, um, this game of high stakes, the flag ends up exploding and everybody goes goodbye. My Stormblade dies, his cat dies, the solo dies. So, and then he ends up scoring his extra from that. So, yep, going into my turn, remaining in ground form because I want to live. So I end up burning the Old Faithful card to get some HP on this striker, get back some of these systems. And then go into the turn. So this chunk of stuff right here where the 40 is, I know this turn I have to get rid of these cats. And I have to, I try to plan around it. I know I have Tactician up. It's just kind of awkward. Like, I really would have liked to not have had to use Tactician and just get rid of the cats. and possibly just give Grievous or something to the. I can't remember if the cats have auto tough or not. But yeah, I end up just moving the blades. See if I can just kill the cats with the blades, or at least get some good amount of damage into the blades. But yeah, the my weapons don't hit that hard, but it's more of a challenge just freaking hitting defense 13 or 14 or whatever it is with these guys. So I know for sure I could probably get rid of one. At least I thought I could have got rid of one, but there goes that. I end up missing with one of those attacks. Yeah, playing this game, I knew the Hydras were gonna be they were gonna be difficult. It was gonna take a lot. Really didn't have like a lot to work with on my side of the board as far as line of sight blocking. I start measuring some things out with Huxley here, try to figure out where I can land without having to do the whole tactician thing. Because I was trying to figure out a way where I could charge with Huxley, kill the cat, or beat back my way to the other cat somehow. So that way I didn't have to do it with the rest of these models that I want to charge the Hydra with, but didn't work out that way. So we send in Huxley. He goes in, he charges the cat. I end up shooting into the Hydra and got some
Whoa!
crazy damage. I ended up shooting him with, because I'm in ground form, so I get the siege weapon, which is amazing. Um, with the gun. So I was like, why not? I have gunfire, let's shoot. I shoot the Hydra and roll a 20. It's pretty nuts. The Hydra, I think, was armor 19, so rounded up was 10, so it was dice off 2. So I got a good chunk into him. Definitely saved my butt there. Um, as far as damage goes, so which was amazing. So yeah, the striker ends up starting to fight the Hydra back. I get some electro leaps into his condition bots, which is great. Unfortunately, I think after the second model that I kill with electro leap, the Glad is closer. Is closer to the Hydra than the other guy, so unfortunate there, but is what it is. So striker keeps hammering away or spearing away, and I believe I get him with the striker. I believe I get him with the striker. I don't even bother rolling the electro leaps into the Titan Glad because it's not even worth it. Or I think I did, and I did like just a little bit of damage. Oh wait, no, I did end up rolling him because I finally got the Zephyr into range. So yeah, going about my day here. I want to figure out how I'm going to clear off this last cat, so that I can start charging the other Hydra. So move up my mechanics, get some empowers up. I unfortunately have to walk around with the Courser, and I think I was still out of range. And yeah, so then I roll, and I roll triple ones. Woohoo! That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Roll triple ones, even with full throttle. So that kind of sucked. That really sucked. So what can you do? So I just end up shooting the cat. Now, surely if the three dice were anything else, even without the crit, I would have killed this cat with the first initial, and then I could have just shot the Hydra. But it is what it is. So I end up finishing off the cat, and then I move my Zephyr. I think this is when I walk around the wall to start fighting the Hydra. So yeah, easy turn for Falk. He just runs to the flag. I'm gonna get 2 points because Xerxis doesn't contest. Go ahead and walk the Zephyr over and decide to start punching. I feel like on this turn, I'm almost positive that Huxley was close enough to where he could have just hot swapped Storm Rager over to the Zephyr. So I feel like I probably should have done that, but it would have left me on 0. So I don't know. That would have been pretty scary. Probably, he probably still could have got to me though, regardless. The Zephyr really should have repositioned a little bit further away from the Hydra, because the next turn he ended up just wiping out both the Zephyr and the Striker, from what I remember. So I feel like if I would have repositioned directly to like the northwest side, that the Hydra would have had maybe a little bit harder time to get to. I don't know. It's hard to say for sure. It's hard to say for sure, but I feel like that probably would have been a better way to go. So, and then I go with my Striker. He does a little bit of chip into the Hydra. It doesn't do crap. And then I just position my mechanics around my flag to get him onto the tippy tip of the flag, just towing, just in case I want to make a maneuver to where I run my mechanics to his 40, and then I could run my Zephyr back to the flag or walk my Zephyr back to the flag and repo. But I ended up losing the Zephyr anyway. So the entire game, it's hard for me to keep a positive leg up on scenario. Sheldon goes into his turn with Xerxis, and he actually ends up missing, I think, one attack into Falk. So I was like, oh, let's go. But yeah, I knew that was going to happen. I knew Falk was going to just freaking disintegrate, and that's what happened. So Xerxes just kills Falk straight up. Um, unlucky. Unlucky. He finally feats, and it was funny because I was worried about the feat the entire game, and I'm almost confident if Sheldon just would have feated turn 3 or whatever, like half my army would have been just gone. Even 3/4 of the army probably would have been gone. But a late game feat still does something. So it's a little bit. But if we would have did it having both Hydras, yeah, the results would have been catastrophic for sure. So yeah, this is where he goes with his Hydra. He has 3-inch reach, so he's easily just gonna wipe the floor with the Zephyr and the Striker. But I will get my Plasma Nimbuses because I like to get all the coupons. Get all the coupons. So Hydra walks up and then just beats my face in. Definitely hits. Definitely just does like 30 to the 6. Yep. 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 Just rolling them dice. Those super hot dice. Man, I really wish I was thinking I always talk um to my group about it. I really want to play two Maelstroms with Huxley just to have fun because I just always think it's so cool being able to play more than one Colossal on a list. It's so freaking cool, especially the Maelstrom because the Maelstrom looks so dope. I just really don't want to pay like $100 for a Maelstrom and wait like 3 months for it to get in to not want to play it. By that time, my excitement will be gone. So, but it is really cool being able to see double Colossals. Sheldon actually inspired me to play First Army and want to play. I was thinking of playing double Hurricane with Darius or two Stormwall Darius or whatever, just so I could play two Colossals and play a Legacy Army for fun at one of like our local steamrollers. So scenario ends up going 10 to 13. Sheldon always ahead. And I'm pretty confident this was my last turn to do anything about scenario. Unfortunately, when I checked this out, the officer did not have the range enough to run to the flag, and I think that would have bought me one more turn instead of fighting the cat. If I just would have had the officer positioned to where he could run to the flag on the next turn. Huxley ends up charging the Hydra and just doing the best he can. That's all you can hope for, when all your jacks are gone. Just beating him with the Storm Rager. I actually end up killing him, which is great. So end up getting the 50, no problem, and then I give myself duck and cover for set defense. But yeah, unfortunately here I did not see the better play, which would have been to just give the Stormblades Pathfinder and then just run the blades to his flag. Or, I'm sorry, what I actually meant to say was bite and hold the 40 and then run to the flag. So then that way I can score the 40 and score the flag, no problem. But I just didn't see it, and then I could have just used the officer to keep fighting the Titan Glad and tie him up so that he couldn't. I don't think he has breakthrough, so that he couldn't walk over and beat Huxley to death. So, yep, that was a play that I didn't see, but I was kind of like panicking under 2 minutes left, and I really, I feel like I could have kept it in the game. Like if I would have if I would have used bite and hold on the Stormblades, gave him Pathfinder, ran to the flag, scored the 40 and the 50, would have scored 1, 2, scored the 50, so I would have scored 4 plus my flag 5. 5 to his 1, and then I wouldn't have had anything to contest his 40, but it is what it is. Next turn I just deal with it. I can maneuver around and figure it out, but I was running pretty low on pieces, so that's how the game went. I lose on scenario, and it is what it is. It was a fun game. So yeah, hope to catch you guys sometime soon again. I know I want to talk about my Siege Invitational weekend. I definitely want to get Sheldon and Will on here to talk about their Siege Invitational weekend, and then all of us want to talk about the team event. So had a lot of fun. A lot of fun. All right, guys. I'll catch you later.